Hello and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be taking a first look at some upcoming balance changes to the Mines map. If many of you have played the game for a while, you'll know that Mines has always been a hot topic. Whether it should be allowed for top tiers to play it, whether it should be limited to tier 5, tier 7, yeah. There's a lot of debate about this map because it's quite a small map and it's had, therefore, a number of iterations, a number of map changes over the years. And its current format, its current edition, is not without issue, but it's, in my opinion, one of the better iterations of the map we have had. However, Wargaming, which is what I'm liking and I like to see, are continually evaluating and have looked at Mines and identified two areas where some changes could be made just to improve the general balance of the map and the gameplay ease. So, there's two areas. One is going to be in the middle for the northern team, the little cubby that some tanks like to drive to, and then they have a hull down to shoot up at the hill and across at the mid. And then the second position is going to be for the southern team as they cross towards the water. They get this little initial hull down that manages to hold the island. They're the two areas of change. So, as you can see before, this is the first position I was on about. Tanks like to cross like this, and then they play here. And what here gives them is it gives them the ability to peek out, shoot the tanks that are playing here. It also gives them the ability to shoot anything that plays hill here, and anything that peeks wide on hill here. And similarly, anything that plays really aggressive on hill here can also be shot from here. It's a pretty strong position. However, it is not particularly easy to fall back from. So once you're in this position, you're kind of in this position. You kind of live or die by the sword there. Especially if they take the island behind you, they kill you. If they push across the hill and peek here aggressively because they've killed all your tanks here, you die. If they play the hull down here on hill, you die. If you fall back, yeah, you can fall back, but once again, you tend to die. So you can kind of get the idea. And this is the logic for their change. So, you can see what they've done is they've basically made the position a little bit harder to play in terms of being able to shoot across at mid, but still giving it its value of shooting up at hill and shooting across at hill here. But now you have a position to fall back into, so you can fall back towards here. However, they've also given this position a use. And what do I mean by that? Well, I mean they have given it a use to shoot across at island. So, obviously the southern team have this position here, which is also being changed, which we'll look at in a second. This position now allows a tank to take into it and be able to counter things that play here on the island. Obviously not perfectly because these rocks exist. However, anything that plays aggressively on island up to this rock and it's spotted, this position can now shoot it. However, obviously, it has to be spotted. So this position is still going to be relatively weak to the island because tanks can take to the backside of this rock and shoot you unspotted, providing, obviously, you are spotted yourself. But, in my opinion, it's definitely a better change. You now have a position to be able to play towards the mid from and be able to fall back. As you can see here in this image, you can fall back, be safe. But also, if, for example, the hill is kind of stagnant, nothing's peeking here in mid, you can turn around and you can begin, once again, safe. The only thing that can shoot you is here. Begin to shoot towards island, which is pretty nice. Just gives this position a little bit of a change and also gives the mid a new angle to shoot down in towards the island. However, interestingly, and we don't quite get to see it, but I believe this shows it, tanks that take into this position here on the island might also now be able to shoot up into mid, which is going to be interesting and might give a little bit more value to island, which previously was pretty exclusionary. You fought to win the island to then be able to take this position over here. And the southern team basically used to just hold the island to stop the northern team taking into this position here, which obviously this position here can get shots into mid. However, maybe now the southern team has shots into mid through the gap here, which is going to be interesting and I feel is a pretty good change. So here we go. This shows it better. You see here, shots through here into mid. I feel like that's a pretty good change in my opinion, and be interesting to see how it plays out. But in general, this change is kind of a quality of life change, makes playing the position a little bit easier, gives the position a little bit more diversity. However, doesn't break the position, because whereas previously you could play here and shoot into mid, they've changed the angle of it, so now you kind of can't play and shoot into mid as well. So I feel like it's a good change. Good change in my opinion. The second position we're going to look at is over here. So this is what it looks like before. You had the rock, which stopped mid shooting at you. You could play here and shoot up into mid yourself, which is what they're changing, and you'll see in a second. And obviously you had this little hole down here to hold island. And as you can see, they're basically making it so this bush is removed, which makes it a little bit more difficult for you to be able to shoot up into mid. Look, he's not going to remove it as a condition, but basically what they've done is just slightly changed the terrain and removed this bush, which obviously you could play here and shoot up into mid from. So just kind of a very, very small change in effect. It's not going to, massively change the gameplay. You're still definitely going to be able to hold this position here. So, for example, the northern team are playing island really strong, or they're pushing underneath here. This position is still going to be very strong, but they've basically just removed what was broken about this position was its ability to be able to so easily shoot up into mid, and obviously mid can't particularly counter you, because if you're playing in this position and shooting up into mid, you likely have island control as well, which stops you from being spotted. But in my opinion, the biggest change and the most interesting change is this position being changed from pretty much exclusively a shoot into mid kind of angle, and only really shoot island if island's been lost. But once again, if you're shooting island, you're being shot by island. To now a position that can shoot into mid, can shoot into island earlier, and also create some interesting angles potentially from island to be able to shoot up into the northern side of mid, which is new. We've not had that before. So yeah, I think they're going to be pretty good changes. Remember, they are only on the Supertest, and we may never see 1 and 2 these changes, but one can hold out their hope. And yeah, if you do agree with me that these changes are good, do let me know down in the comments. But if you disagree, also tell me why, because we can have a discussion. And if you did like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out the video and the playlist that are on screen now for some more similar videos, and I'll see you all in the next one.